In today's Farm Report, the U.S. is negotiating the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and the TTIP, or Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, with the European Union and Pacific Rim nations, and many groups want Congress to give the President Trade Promotion Authority to help move those agreements along, but some farm organizations are objecting. Cindy Zimmerman with AgriPulse has more.
The majority of farm organizations support Trade Promotion Authority for the President and the conclusion of a Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. But the National Farmers Union is opposed to both, according to Senior Vice President of Programs Chandler Gould.
And it's for a philosophical reason. The United States Constitution says that Congress has the right to enter into trade agreements, meaning you as a taxpayer, you as a farmer, you as a rancher have a right to weigh in with your congressman on what is good for trade. If you pass TPA, you are signing away your constitutional authority to one person, and that is to the president. Regardless if that president is Republican or Democrat, you are giving up your ability to weigh in with your congressman because all they get to do is vote up or down. And last year at the National Farmers Union Convention, just due to the lack of transparency, we do not support the Trans-Pacific Partnership. It's very difficult for organizations like NFU to say if we support it or not, because I can't tell you what's in it. And so if USTR really wants to build support, they're going to have to start releasing some information to us and letting us know what's in there.
Mary Kay Thatcher with the American Farm Bureau Federation disagrees.
It doesn't cede any authority. It just says that Congress can't offer numerous amendments to a deal that has been negotiated between two countries, and that they can only have an up or a down vote. So if a member of Congress doesn't think that particular piece of trade policy is a good one, they vote no. I think the other thing is, we hear a lot out of, well, we don't even know what's in it. Well, every member of Congress has security clearance to go on the website and read every negotiation that's ongoing, or to call somebody from the U.S. Trade Representative's office up to the Hill and say, tell me what's going on. You and I don't have that ability because we don't have that security clearance, but every member of Congress and numerous staff up there do.
Thatcher believes that right now Congress is a few votes short of passing Trade Promotion Authority, but she's optimistic that progress will be made. Reporting for AgriPulse, I am Cindy Zimmerman.
When it comes to trying to find out the real connection between antibiotic use in animal agriculture and the growing problem of bacteria becoming resistant to antibiotics for humans,
there's more that we don't know than we know, and there's really a lack of data.
Ohio State University's Dr. Lonnie King, speaking a few weeks ago at a USDA forum, he's a former administrator of USDA's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, and on Capitol Hill this week, the current administrator, Kevin Shea, told a congressional panel his agency is going to be trying to get more information, taking surveys of producers, and also,
we are going to be collecting samples and testing them at our veterinary services laboratories to see what the bacteria level is on farms. So we're gathering real basic data about on-farm use of antimicrobials to see just how they are used and to be able to analyze that data and provide that to the larger national discussion with FDA and research agencies,
who are trying to come up with a comprehensive plan to combat the rise in human bacterial strains resistant to antibiotics. Gary Crawford for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Washington.
The debate over genetically modified organisms and how to label products with those items in it continues. Cindy Zimmerman with AgriPulse has more.
Labeling to address the presence or absence of genetically modified food ingredients was a big topic of discussion at Commodity Classic last week. National Corn Growers Association CEO Chris Novak says they favor legislation by Representative Mike Pompeo of Kansas, which would create a single standard for labeling nationwide.
What we know consumers need is solid, consistent information about the food that they consume. And we hear from time to time questions about different production practices and other things that consumers want on the label. And yet at the end of the day, what's important is that they have the nutritional information that they need, that they know if there is or is not an allergen. And therefore, GMO labeling, where we know that these products are safe, they're tested, they're approved around the world, becomes less of a priority. And that needs to be, though, established within a federal law, and we're hoping the Pompeo bill can do that.
American Soybean Association President Wade Cowan of Texas says they'd like to see a non-GMO label.
Our proposal and what we hope moves forward is a new dialogue that tells the consumers, we understand your needs and your wants to have knowledge of what's in your food. And the most effective way that we have found when we talk to consumers, whether they be college-age students or the woman in the grocery store, is it doesn't help them if they have a label that says from 1/10 to 100% is GMO, and 99% of the things on the shelf would all have a GMO label. What's more effective is that we have a positive outlook and that we have a GMO label that is certified by USDA as non-GMO. And those companies and those people in the food chain that want to go into that market have the ability to label theirs as such.
During his address at Commodity Classic, Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack suggested the use of barcodes that provide information at the touch of a smartphone to avoid the impression that there's something wrong with GMOs.
So if you're a consumer who wants to know, put the information on an extended barcode. You have access to the information. You're not denying anybody information, but you're also not conveying it in a way that sends the false notion or false impression about the safety of that product. The problem with this discussion about labeling is that it's neither about nutrition nor about risk, because there is no safety risk, health risk with GMOs. That's established.
Reporting for AgriPulse, I'm Cindy Zimmerman.
We are seeing more food at the stores and our plates these days, thanks to record agricultural crop production. And Barry Fisher of USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service says while precision technology and genetics are key factors, that record production could even be greater.
We've somewhat forgotten that it really also takes a fully functioning soil to deliver the full potential of those genetic advancements and precision advancements.
Fisher says regenerating some of soil's natural capabilities, such as water holding capacity and nutrient cycling, can boost our recent production records to even greater heights. And that can be done with a series of conservation practices that many farmers already use to improve soil health.
A longer, more diverse crop rotation. Cover crops adapt their nutrient management to better complement the crop rotation in the cover crops. They may use a no-till system or a conservation tillage system that leaves more residue on the surface.
I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
The University of Minnesota Extension Service Office will be hosting several different workshops this week. Dan Martins with the University of Minnesota Extension Service has more.
I offered some detailed discussion recently about some coming events, and today I'd like to offer a short summary of a couple of things and then move on to some other topics for the rest of the week. First, the Barriers to Bushels, Corn, and Soybeans and Wheat Production meeting that was to be held on March 3rd in Little Falls last week has now been canceled. We have not been able to find a day that would work well with the bulk of the speakers and not conflict with other ag events nearby. We'll aim for next winter's meeting season to offer this workshop again. We're sorry for any inconvenience this has caused. If you have specific questions related to topics we were going to cover, please let me know and I'll do what I can to get information to you. You're welcome to call me at 1-800-964-4929 or for local call to Foley 968-5077. I also plan to get some key points from speakers and use some of that information in future radio topics and newspaper articles. Let's review a couple of things going on this week with a little better weather forecast. On Tuesday, March 10th, the Benton Soil and Water Conservation District and NRCS office will be hosting an irrigation meeting at the Royalton American Legion. Registration will begin at 9:30 a.m. with no cost, and the program will run from 10 to 3. It looks like a list of practical topics for farmers using irrigations and farm advisors working with irrigation. The pre-registration date is passed for meal arrangements, but if you still have an interest, call Travis Jensen at Benton SWCD office Monday, March 9th, 968-5300, line 120. I'd guess at the Royalton American Legion there will be room to sit, and if you need to make a quick trip for a sandwich somewhere during lunch break, it's not too far to a quick stop. On Thursday, March 12th, the Stearns County Environmental Services is hosting a nutrient management workshop in cooperation with Stearns SWCD, NRCS, Minnesota Extension, and MPCA. This will be held at the Melrose City Center. Registration starts at 9:30 with no cost, and the program runs from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. with lunch provided around noon. RSVPs were requested by March 5th, but if you still have an interest in taking advantage of this opportunity, I'd encourage you to call Stearns County Environmental Services at 320-656-3613. Again, for food, it's not too far to a quick stop. The discussion at Melrose on Thursday for practical purposes on the farm is about making good use of manure nutrients for the benefit of the farm business, and the farm family, knowing that you're on track with taking good care of soil and water resources, and knowing you're on track with MPCA and county rules about feedlots and manure handling, or getting some help with these items. Just before lunch, I'll be working with a panel of 3 farmers and a crop consultant to listen to their perspectives and experiences with making better use of manure nutrients on their farm. I'm Dan Martins with U of M Extension, and I hope you're working safely with whatever the warmer weather gives you a chance to do.
The Crow Wing County Dairy Association will crown its Dairy Princess on March 21st at 7 p.m. at the Piers Ballroom. The Morrison County Dairy Princesses will be crowned on Saturday, March 28th at 7 p.m. at the Falls Ballroom. More information upcoming later this month.